And good morning, good evening, good night. You sleeping and you catch this while you creeping with your sneaky link or whatever you guys like to do. My name is Holly Sisa. I am the founder of Morning Mimosas, as you guys should know by now.
Hello, humans. I'm Fatu, and I'm along for the ride on a great space coaster.
And I love her dearly. And we are Morning Mimosas, where we value criminal justice, healing, and education for the Black and minority communities. So this is, like you guys saw in the intro, this is a very sensitive subject, so viewer discretion is advised. October is Domestic Violence Month. Well, Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I want to make sure I say that correctly. And we wanted to make sure that we touched on that subject as a podcast that values all the things that we state. And domestic violence, unfortunately, falls under all three of those categories. So, where do we start with domestic violence? It's everywhere. And it got worse, especially during the pandemic.
Oh my God. Yeah, it really did. Which is also by design. But yeah, it did get a lot worse because then now you're stuck in the house 24/7 with this person.
Can't go nowhere.
Mm-mm.
It's just really, really sad. I'm going to just dive into my experiences with domestic violence. I won't say their names. One of them's deceased. So I'll be respectful of his mother in that regard, but that's as far as that respect goes. I had an on and off relationship with a guy since high school, and it came to a head in 2017. He was on drugs, and he almost took my life in March of 2017. And like prior to that, it was just a whole bunch of just stuff that he did. Meth was a drug. And because I did state viewer discretion is advised, I am going to say something a little graphic. He did put meth in my vagina one night.
How did you survive that?
The high was something I never felt before. I don't know how I got through that. It was a very, very abusive relationship. He crashed my car twice with me in it while he was high. I went back, as most DV victims do, because I thought I could change him. But it came to a head when he wanted to do those. He wanted to be a drug dealer, and it sent me back to when my daughter passed.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to leave him, and we got into a huge altercation, and he threw a butterfly knife towards my head and it nearly missed.
My God.
And because we tell the truth here, in retaliation for that, I did try to run him down with my car. And I was also
the first time that you tried to fight back. Yeah, because you had enough. Okay.
But I was also charged.
Yeah, they're gonna get you too.
But eventually, I did my probation, and my record is sealed.
Now, while everything was going on, did you file police report charges, or
Yeah,
did you?
he went to jail for domestic battery and assault.
Wow. Then, I mean, not surprisingly, but surprisingly, they charged you. But probably because now you have
The
kill
weapon, which is a vehicle.
and yeah. Um, did you ever get closure with that? Like,
No, never. I never got closure with that because he was murdered in 2021.
oh,
Um,
you feel
so
away?
I absolutely do. Honestly, yeah, I feel
And is
some
it
kind
a
of way
way
because it,
like you feel like saddened or like you got what you got?
anger
Yeah,
because of him, I had to deal with a whole bunch of situations
yeah.
that I still kind of have to deal with now. So I
The
just kind of
it's
feel
just
like
like it just continues because it's not just physical. That's what people tend to forget is that it's not just physical. Unless you meet someone and off the cuff, the abuse, the hitting starts and you stay. And I don't believe that that's how it goes. I believe it starts with mental and emotional abuse first, and then it works its way up. Like it's a
yep,
total breakdown, right? Um, and what's crazy is that when you are in the thick of it, um, you may know that it's insane, but you don't really feel the insanity. Does that make sense?
yep.
So it's like, yes, it is insane to have to be on guard continuously for fear of attack or whatever. And you are on eggshells. You damned if you do and you damned if you don't. So you really don't know. So you got to pick which one is going to end up with the harsher ending. You know what I mean? Which is the same fucking thing. Let's be honest. Um, whew. And then you still think I can help them. I can be the one that's going to change. And before you know it, it's almost like once you really get to the point of realization, it has been a long time. And you have been alienated from a lot of people for a long time, and you don't even realize it. And then you're too far gone. So then you say, it's a whole um pity party system that you go through, right? Not realizing the strength that you even are taking to not even be in that situation anymore where you thought you couldn't survive even through it all. Like, I can't survive with you and I can't survive without you. So, you're just flailing in life until something happens and either um, someone gets pregnant and you don't want your child to witness or be a part of it, or you get hurt to a degree that no, this ain't worth it, and you snap out of it. Someone makes you, like, physically, your parents come and snatch your ass out and take you somewhere else, or you die. I mean, there's other options, but it goes from the living in shelters and trying to get away, and if you have kids and you're in shelters, like, it is so much.
It is.
And it takes a long time. Those wounds will heal. Your bruises will go away, but that mental shit takes a minute to leave. It really does. And it kind of always doesn't go away. Because sometimes those, intrusive thoughts get in. They get in there.
It's I don't know. I guess what saddens me is when men and women, because here at Morning Mimosas, we value men as well.
Mhm.
Um, Actually, I'm gonna switch to that really quick and then go back. Men in domestic violence relationships is very uncommon, but it happens more than we know.
Mm-hmm. They don't ever speak up about it because, you know, they get laughed at.
It's not right though. Like men get abused
Oh.
too. Like I don't get the laughing at a man because he has emotions. Like, are we all not human? Like that's the thing. That's the thing I can't like bottle my mind around. Like the lack of like humanity. Like yeah, they pee different or whatever our
Mm-hmm.
genetic differences are, but we're still all human. Like we
Right.
all still
And
have the same
it's the pain.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Still have all the same goal. Unfortunately, life and death. So I don't, it's I don't really get that. But I just want to speak on a story of a man. I wish I remembered his name, and I just feel really bad. But his wife was abusing him badly, and he finally decided to leave her. And he met a beautiful woman, and the wife was still like harassing him and the new girlfriend. And obviously, you guys know that the story is not going to end well, right?
Yeah.
The wife came to the girlfriend and her ex-husband's home and murdered them both. Um,
Control issues.
yeah,
Control issues. And
and
mental illness like a mofo. Self-inflicted mental illness at this point.
just like, and then the lady's 5-year-old girl was there. She called the police and said, "My mommy needs help." Um,
Is she? Please tell me she's in prison right now.
she's she's in jail for life.
How long ago did this happen?
I need to
Pretty
figure
long
out what I need to figure
time.
out what her name was. Um, I saw it on Deadly Women on the ID channel.
Mm.
Um, was her name Shauna or Shayna? It's either Shauna or Shayna that did that to her husband and the new ex-husband and the new girlfriend. Um, and the thing that bothers me about that, they had 2 children together. Why were you abusing this man? And she was an alcoholic.
She was an alcoholic. Um,
So when she
doesn't
would,
use it, but
what is her name? Is her name Shauna Gay or something? Let me see. That might be her name. But yeah, she unfortunately there's a lot of stories like that. There's another lady that was just like that. She wasn't like physically abusive, and I just want to clarify that domestic violence is not just physical; it's also verbal, emotional, mental,
mm-hmm.
and
Financial.
financial,
Mm-hmm.
sexual.
Oh,
So um, that one I know. That one I know well. But she she left her husband in like Montana, and she went back home after her mother died. And she left the house for like 2 years. Didn't, call her husband nothing. And then and then her husband moved on. I would have moved on too if my spouse was gone for like a year. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna move on. Like,
I mean, because you're not coming back. That's
yeah,
some time.
like exactly. And so she came back a year too.
Like,
You know,
pop, what's up?
yeah, she popped up and was like, "Hey, I'm back." And she was in like Maine or something. So I'm just like, so you're just no, she was in Massachusetts. She was like in Massachusetts.
Jeez, Louise. That's
And
a little crazy.
she came back and noticed that her husband started hanging out with this lady. I remember one of the victims' name. Her name was Summer. And I'm trying to figure out what the lady's name is. But and she kept asking her husband, like, "Oh, who is this woman?" And blah blah blah. I'm like, "Girl, you haven't been here in 2 years. What you asking her the questions for?"
Right. Because who was you with for 2 years? Okay, boo. Not that you had a fling for 2 years that ended and now you just rolled back home, but okay.
And then the actual abuse started. She started stalking them, breaking their shit and stuff like that. And then, one night she snuck into the house. She shot Summer in the basement 6 times while she laid on the couch, begging for her life. And then she shot her husband upstairs. And then she pretended like she was hurt when the police got there, because obviously people called the police.
Right.
Then obviously they do their job and they noticed that nothing was wrong, like nothing.
Right.
She had no bullet wounds, nothing.
Shot to nothing on you.
But what made it worse is that they couldn't get to Summer on time. She was dying in the basement, and they didn't know if the killer was in the basement or not, because the lady lied.
Oh.
Yeah, she was making sure that lady, like.
I hope that bitch is in hell.
What is her name? Oh, see, I like to have these people's names, but because she's from Deadly Women too. And then the thing that I remember about that episode, she had like a chemical. She was just really, really annoying. Like, she was always talking about chemical smells. Chemical smells bothering her, and she would always be yelling at the neighbors. And
sound like she was short circuiting.
See, I hate when I don't remember people's names, because now there's a lot of stories just from that state, and I'm like, Lord Jesus Christ, like,
what else is there to do though? They're in Canada, because God, dog.
Don't get me started on Canada. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit on just something I was talking to with my kid's father earlier. We were talking about DUIs and how there needs to be stricter laws when a DUI leads to a death. There's something that bothers me about people that get a DUI and a vehicular homicide and they get 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
I've always wanted to say this.
They get out in that amount of time, and then they do it again. And then you only get a longer period of time, like life, if you do it 3 times. So you got to kill 3 people to be taken off of the street. I'm laughing, but the shit is not funny.
Right. So for the viewers, I just want to explain something about me, Miss Fox. Like, sometimes we laugh because not because something's funny. It's because like we laugh because it's like, fuck, like people are stupid. It's
make it make sense. And I suppose that they think that if they spend that amount of time in prison, that they will get out and maybe not drink again, because it would be out of their system. Not realizing that they probably would be drunk within the first 24 hours. Depends on where they're going. If they're going to like a family's house or a friend's house or somebody that they know, best believe that they gonna have they having whatever type of sexual orientation they have, not sexual orientation, sexual preference that they have, will be waiting for them with whatever drugs and alcohol is available. It is immediately that amount of time that's doing anything. And then you fall off the wagon and pretend to go to the meetings.
That brings me to my next point. Reoffending. So there was a lady, she had gotten a DUI in Michigan once. She didn't kill anybody that first time, but she got a DUI a second time, and she killed 6 people, including her sister.
Say 6 people?
She killed 6 people, including her sister.
Oh.
Guess how many years she got for that?
Please don't say a low amount of numbers.
Guess how many years she got for that?
She could have been black, because that would have been life. So what she get?
30. 30 years for 6 deaths.
So that's like being a serial killer, just FYI. And that's all she got. She should have got life.
But for some reason, but see, that's my problem as well. See, that's why I wanted to bring this up during this episode, because we have to bring awareness to everything. Um, the thing that bothers me about that is because they did it drunk. For some reason, because it's a DUI, they pair it up with a vehicular homicide charge, and vehicular homicide at minimum is like 2 years, which blows my mind, because what's the difference between somebody, somebody running somebody down purposefully, you guys give them life, versus somebody who kills somebody on accident while they're drunk? It's not on accident. Like, you purposefully took that drink, and you decided to get drunk. You decided to go behind the wheel of a vehicle, and accidentally or non-accidentally ended the life of another. So why doesn't murder?
There's no justification.
Why doesn't murder apply there?
It should, absolutely. And your vehicle should be absolutely a weapon. Yeah.
Because you made that choice I mean, I feel like it's the same thing for like a meth head or something. If they hit somebody with their car and they were high off of meth, wouldn't they get a murder charge for that?
Probably so.
DUI?
Yeah,
but
like,
so what's
the drug offense is much deeper than the alcohol offense, because drugs are not legal and alcohol is.
Hi, hey everyone. If you're just joining us on Morning Mimosas, we are talking about October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, but we had to bring up the DUI issue that is currently bothering me, because it was a former raider that he got a DUI and vehicular homicide. He killed a mom and a daughter. He only got 10 years. That's the thing that made me mad. And with time served, it might be 5. So
that part,
that's the thing that like angers me. But another thing too, with going back to domestic violence, we all understand that restraining orders doesn't technically stop anything, right? Because according to the person that's on the other end of that, they think that, oh, it's just a piece of paper. What do we do in situations like that, where the person doesn't even give a rat's ass about what a court says about, hey, stay away from this person or you'll be in trouble? Why? I just don't understand why people just feel the need to hurt someone that they're currently with, used to be with, wanted to be with.
Control. It's such a need of control and narcissistic control. It's just control. I hate to use the word narcissistic, because that seems like that applies to everybody in the goddamn universe to some degree. But it's hold please. Cut it out. Go in now. Sorry, I can't. It's the whining. The little cry. It drives me insane.
It's okay.
They become so enraged. They need that control. And when they can especially if they did not fully break you, I'm sure people are still seething years after years. It doesn't matter how many people they have or have not gone through. Some people are easily to break, than others, and if you are the one that they couldn't, some people are fixated forever. Speaking of the ID channel, I saw a case on there where the guy, they met at like a technical school, a little technology school, and everything was good until like he wanted to move her away. Of course, move away from your family and your friends. And then he became, he changed once they got away, and he thought he had her to himself. And then when he became physically abusive, as it escalated and he became physically abusive, it happened for a while, and then she left him. He went to jail. He was in jail for 5 years. In the 5 years, she moved. She changed her name. She got married. This mofo gets out of jail after 5 years, finds her, stalks her and her husband, and tries to kill them. This is how many years he was locked up. So you sat in jail for 5 years seething, and who on the outside kept tabs on her for you? Because she changed her name and moved. So who was keeping tabs? That's some bullshit. People can be really unhinged and sick. Like we're not meant to be controlled by anyone else. We're our own person, own thoughts, feelings, and there are people who have similarities, within their personalities to someone else. But there's some people who are just so fucking miserable and will pretend that they are high on life until they get with you and try to in their emotional vampires and abusers, and they try to suck everything from you, but they don't do it quick and fast, quick and easy. They do it long and hard, to make the pain, you know that's why the words cut deeper, because they act like they want to get to know you. I want to know all about you. And they learn, what triggers you and what doesn't trigger you. And they use that shit against you and break you down. And then when you're to the point of no return, they escalate the abuse until finally they get to the end goal, which is putting their hands on you and physically hurting you so that you wear your scars. Because you can pretend like you're fine after they try to, break you down emotionally, but the physical, they can look at you and see that and get off and then want to fuck you afterwards because they now got off on, that power, and now want to, humiliate you.
Who that sound like? That sounds like last week. But hold on, y'all. Warning Moses needs one of these. I need one of these. It doesn't have to be a normal sip, but we gonna sip. Because yeah, that needed that. But
And I would, before we have to, because this is going to be a shortened episode, and before we have to jump off, I would like to say that for people who say just leave, it is so very easy for you that's on the outside of the forest looking in to say just leave. And by the way, you don't know, even if you've been in the situation from day one, you don't really fully know if this person has tried to leave and they got found. So then, because that shit happens too, you leave, I leave, and I go somewhere else, and I think that I'm safe, and they come and find me, and then they bring you back, and then it's worse. So it's just not as simple as, why don't you just leave? You have to be strategic, or that's still your life. You have to fight for your life, even if it means losing your life fighting for your fucking life, if that makes any sense. You're muted.
I apologize for that. It absolutely does. Just a person that's been through that. Like you said, it's not easy to just leave, but you have to take the steps to do so because your life is valuable. Y'all do not mind me. I am just putting this number here for people
who may need it.
For anyone who's experiencing domestic violence, please call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at the number listed down here, 1-800-799-7233. And then there's also a text number. I will put that up here shortly. Give me 1 second. You can also text this to this number here. If you feel like this is safer, you can text START to 88788. And then if you visit the website also, I learned something as well. Let me see if I can put these two together. I also learned if you go on their website and you feel that your stalker is nearby, they have a thing where if you press the escape key twice, it'll go back to the Google page to keep you safe. So I think that feature is very nice. And I want to thank This is Monsters podcast for that. They're the ones that taught me that. That's an amazing podcast. Please go check him out. He's an amazing guy. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to put this down here so you guys can see it all together. And we're going to get on out of here, but we're going to keep this information on here for a little bit before we go. Sorry, y'all. All right. So once again, that is the information for you to call. If you or anyone, once again, is experiencing any kind of domestic violence, once again, it doesn't have to be physical, everybody. There's other types of abuse. Please call that number, 1-800-799-7233. And please, if you don't feel comfortable calling because that person's nearby, text the word START to 88788. And once again, if you visit the website, they have something interesting where if you escape twice, because you feel like your abuser is nearby, it'll take you back to the Google homepage. So please take care of yourselves. This is Morning Mimosas, where we value you guys as humans, criminal justice, healing, and education for the Black and minority communities. Stay safe.
Bye, humans.